It is a little bit difficult to start this video today because I have achieved the goal with the revelation. I have over 1,000 kills on this ship now, and usually when I achieve the goal I like to change into a new ship, and that's what I've been doing for the last couple months. But I have more plans for the revelation. I was very surprised when they have released the high angle weapons, so there is a chance that I will use them in PvP to show you how it works. And my long-term goal with this ship is to use it in order to build the CHONK. Now, currently we have two ship types, two capital ships that are using the new manufacturing method. Basically, in order to manufacture the jump freighters or the faction carriers, you have to have the imperial versions of the carrier or the freighter. So I believe that when we do get the faction dreadnoughts, it's going to be the same manufacturing process. So that means I will need a revelation and a bunch of materials in order to produce a CHONK, and I believe it is the best way. That will be the best way on how to part ways with the revelation. I think it's a honorable way as well. Basically, I will turn the revelation into a CHONK, and the CHONK, as you all probably know, is my next primary PvP dreadnought. That is a faction dreadnought, Blood Raider dreadnought to be more accurate, and I believe I will have a lot of fun with that ship. Now, currently they are not released, but they will be released at one point, I believe somewhere in this year. Not anytime soon, which means I have enough time to save up ISK, to save up materials, and I have enough time to prepare the skills to manufacture the faction dreadnought. But that is going to be the fate of the revelation. It will be used to manufacture a faction capital ship, and I believe that's one of the most honorable and one of the most epic ways to go, because when you think about it, I will not be parting ways with the ship. The revelation will be turned into a CHONK, so I'll have the chance to re-experience everything that I experienced with the revelation, with the CHONK, with the same hull as on the revelation, which is, I believe, one epic way how to continue the journey with this beautiful ship. How was the revelation over the last 9 months? Amazing. This ship is absolutely amazing. The sleeper nanocore, well, it doesn't exist yet, but I wish it did. If we had a sleeper nanocore for the revelation, I would probably be using it. But the sleeper skin also looks very nice, and well, the sleeper skin became kind of a signature skin for this ship, because I used to fall asleep on the gate quite often, so the sleeper skin does kind of suit me a lot. So yeah, that's kind of a meme going around as well. So this would be a little compilation that I made in order to just to show you how much fun I had and how much fun this ship actually can be, and of course to show you what the revelation can do. So with that being said, I really hope that you enjoy this little compilation. Grab some popcorn, sit down in the chair, grab a beer, grab wine or whatever you like to drink, and well, enjoy the show. The revelation has been in a special operation in the last couple weeks, and I would say that it was mostly successful. Now, what do we have here? We have one Abaddon, one Thorax, and there is one Tornado. So, I have a full tank build, although I wish that I had the build with tracking computers. Let me just quickly dock with my second account, just to be safe. So, usually I have this ship equipped with one afterburner or one micro warp drive. In this case, I have one heatsink, because I am currently playing station games, so having a propulsion module is kind of useless at station games. And it looks like the other fleet has warped away. Now I don't have any tracking computers, so I will have to shoot targets that are not moving. Now that Abaddon is moving with the micro updrive. They are orbiting at 90 plus kilometers, so I will try to kill that bomber. I haven't turned on the siege mode because it has that 2-minute timer that might be problematic. The bomber survived on hull, that's okay. The Abaddon is at 98 kilometers. The thorax has warped back in, okay. Now I have a lot of tank on this ship, and I'm not really worried about a big fleet. I can definitely survive for a very long time. So I think I might actually dock, and I'll try to see if I did pick up the tracking computers, although if I don't have the tracking computers in this station, then I'll just quickly take the interceptor and I will bring them over here. The Abaddon is actually moving away from me, now at 104 kilometers. A tornado has warped in. The Abaddon is using beam lasers. They have a very long range. Let me see if I can actually hit that battlecruiser. Seems like they are not moving. Well, I guess I'm not able to hit them. That's okay. But overall, I'm not really worried about the armor of this ship. I have dual or triple capacitor batteries, so I could tank for a very long time, especially with the rigs that I have installed on this ship. If I had the tracking computers, then I would be able to hit that battlecruiser and hit that battleship. So that was my little mistake for not equipping the tracking computers. They are very useful. And of course the Revelation has excellent tracking, so it would be very fun.
Undocking.
Okay, well, let's undock and let's see what kind of targets we have. We have one Raven and we have one Balgorn. Now that Balgorn has at least 25 plus points of stab, so the Balgorn will warp away if I start shooting at it. So let's first secure one kill, and then I will try to kill the Balgorn. That Raven will have to endure 20,000 DPS. That's how much DPS I have with the ship. I think it should be around 20,000. I did improve some skills. The Raven is now into armor, and the Raven has been destroyed. Okay. Let's see if I can kill that Balgorn. 38,000 was the first hit. Not bad. But the Balgorn did warp away. Well, that wasn't bad. We got that one Raven. Next target we have one Maelstrom. They have engaged our Apocalypse Striker right outside of the station. They have been webbed. They have been scrambled. Let me add my own webs and my own scrambler. Okay. We'll enter siege mode once the ship is moving 5 meters per second. The DPS got vastly improved. First hit, the Maelstrom is now at around 50% shield. Second hit, Maelstrom at around 40% shield. That was a massive hit, 46,000. The Maelstrom is now into low armor. And the third one was also a pretty big hit, 34,000. But this one destroyed the battleship. That was a very nice kill. You know, there is something very satisfying with you out, and let's blast some ships with the revelation. This is the fun part. First target for today we have a Macarial. Now let's see how much damage I'll do on a battleship. 36,000. First hit, almost depleted the shield in one hit. And this Macarial has the Neon Ray nanocore. Well, it is a very good looking Macarial, that's for sure. Although they have some good resistances as well. I have modified my build a little bit. I have one tracking computer and one micro updrive, but the rest of the modules is the same. Macarial is now into hull. Target painters do help really well so far to help hit battleships, cruisers, you know, things like that. And the Macarial has been destroyed. Very nice first kill. Well, that was a nice kill mill. Let's take a look at this. 5.2 billion, my apologies. Not bad. The loot fairy wasn't quite generous to us today. The Macarial carried 3 faction drones. Oh well, I guess that's okay. Next target we have another Macarial. Dual tracking computers. This Macarial is moving, so the accuracy will be a little bit lower. And I should activate one tracking computer per hit. That's something that I need to get used to. A little mistake, but in the end it's not that serious. If you want to make a dreadnought miss your ship, then orbit. Dreads have very poor tracking, and if they are in siege mode, the tracking will be impacted as well. So the best thing to do is orbit. That way the damage that your dreadnought will take, the damage that your ship will take from a dreadnought will be vastly reduced. Now what do we have here? We have a Armageddon and Raven that have jumped us. The primary target is the Raven, secondary target will be the Armageddon. The Armageddon might actually be going for the gate. We will see what will happen. They have locked me on. Raven is now into armor. The Armageddon is actually approaching me. Okay, that's interesting. Raven lost armor. One more hit on the Raven should be enough. Secondary target Armageddon. Raven has been destroyed. Let's focus fire on the next battleship. I think they're actually burning to the gate. Well, I guess not. They actually engaged the dreadnought. Interesting. First hit, and the Armageddon is now into armor. They are using one neutralizer and dual Nosferatu, and they are definitely using a reactive armor hardener, because the damage that I'm doing has been greatly reduced. My friend has rammed the battleship, and I did miss the second shot because the target was moving. Second hit, 8,000 damage. Okay, they have a good tank, that's for sure. I would say they also have one damage control. Second hit, the armor on the battleship slowly going down. The next hit should go into hull. That was a big hit. They are still repairing armor, but the hull has been severely damaged, and one more hit should be enough to shoot down the Armageddon. Nice. That was a nice kill. Not quite sure why the Armageddon decided to engage. I think they could have easily jumped through the gate. Not quite sure what happened here. I think we got jumped, but it did not end well for the battleships. Okay. Now here in local, you can see that there's quite a bit of traffic here. And this corporation, this alliance, is known to have destroyed a bunch of rorquals. They have destroyed a bunch of dreadnoughts. They're basically capital ship hunters. And well, it just so happens that there's a revelation parked on this gate. Now you might be wondering, where are those ships? They are not docked, they are on this gate over there. And I will take my alt, that you can see on the screen. I'll take my alt to scout around to see what kind of ships they have prepared for us. Now we are about 4 on the gate here, and that means that's about 10 of them on the gate, and there is more of them coming in. Now in the low sec system, next door to the revelation here, there is no one there, it's empty, so they're definitely coming from a different position. They have a bunch of Macarials, tornadoes, and there is a bunch of Cinnaballs as well. I expect that all of them are with barrage implants. And over here in this system, it's empty. Okay. Now they are all at the gate, so I'm thinking, are they waiting for us to go to the gate to attack them, or are they waiting for a Sino to open? That corp and that alliance especially is known to hot drop a lot of dreadnoughts, so I expect that they are waiting for a Sino. Let me see what's over here. There is 2 more in this system. Okay, now in this system we have one Raven Striker that is 1197 kilometers away from the gate. And I would guess that there is even more ships coming in. So I will go and scout the next low sec system with my alt. I am not the type of CEO that has no clue about a war, or that has no clue about a operation against their corp or alliance, unlike another CEO of a big corp and alliance that had no clue about a war until it was too late. That's not how you play EVE. If you are a CEO, you have to know everything that's happening, and you have to be on the lookout for a potential hostile fleet that might end up coming towards your home system and of course region. Because if you're not aware of stuff like that, you might end up losing a lot of ships, you might end up losing citadels, outposts, and eventually you might end up losing the whole region. Okay, so the low sec system was actually empty, so that's a little bit suspicious. Now probably they have a cover tops or a couple of these ships as backup nearby that will open Sino, and through that Sino I expect a minimum of about 20 dreadnoughts, perhaps even carriers. And speaking of cover top ships, there is one, Blackbird cover tops. Let's quickly engage that ship. Now, as I've said before on the start, I'm not really worried about getting jumped by dreadnoughts. I can tank for quite a while. Again, I've built this ship with that in mind. Now, the first attempt to kill the cover tops failed, it warped out, but the second attempt is actually successful. Now, the main fleet that is still on the gate is not warping towards the gate. They didn't want to go and help this Blackbird, and that is, you know, that is a little bit suspicious, because I expected them to warp when we take aggro from when we aggro the Blackbird. I expected them to start warping through, and I expected the sign to be open, but that didn't happen, which was very weird. And after that, the first target for today is going to be a capital ship. Now this does not happen that often. We have destroyed about 4 or 5 other capital ships on this gate, so having a capital ship jump in is a very pleasant surprise. Now let me quickly go and ping Discord just in case this ship is a bait. Okay. Everyone has been pinged. Now I can put the Discord window down. Okay, now the Discord window is down. So I'm doing some good alpha damage on this capital ship. And it looks like this pilot has some good freighter skills, because they are taking some... it takes some time to go through the shield of this ship. I remember last time when one of these ships came in, they didn't take this long to reach armor, but this one does seem to have some good skills for this ship. Now I have some tracking disruptors. I have basically all of my modules, all of my EWAR modules on this ship, because why not? Although kind of pointless to have a tracking disruptor on a freighter because they don't have any turrets. The Daredevil webs keep the Charon webbed, and I don't think that they are going to be moving at a high velocity at all. After all, 3 Daredevil webs are quite strong, and I believe they are moving at 1 or 0 meters per second. They can rotate their ship, but I don't believe that they can move, so this should be a pretty good target. Not really sure what the pilot is trying to do, or an even better question, not really sure why the pilot is in this system. Someone messed up the autopilot, I assume. Now the freighter is in 50% hull. I'm doing some good alpha damage. So far I think I did about 47,000 damage. One more hit and the freighter will be destroyed. Cannot wait to see the explosion. Should be pretty glorious. Or not. Okay, well I guess the freighter got snapped in half over here. And well, the freighter is destroyed. This was a capital ship. Okay, well unfortunately my Concord Pass has been done for a while now, but let's take a look at the kill of 15 billion. And this freighter had a lot of stuff in the cargo hold. Unfortunately, it's not loaded as much as I thought it could be, but I'm not going to complain. After all, this is a capital ship, and not every day that a capital ship just happens to stroll in our home system. Well, and here you can take a look at the wreck. Does look very nice. I like the wreck design of the capital ships. The freighter got snapped in half, basically. Overall, a solid kill. One of my best kills to date. And a very nice start to the video. Today is going to be a very, very nice day with the revelation. And I almost have achieved my goal with over 1,000 kills. Next target we have one Macarial. Let me quickly go and send my alt to web the Macarial just so that I can hit this ship. Now Macarial can be a very hard to hit ship if you are using a capital ship, because it's fast, it has a very small signature radius for a battleship. So webbing the Macarial is going to be a very smart thing to do. They have been webbed. I have my tracking disruptors on the battleship so that they can't hit any of our ships. The Macarial is in hull. One more hit should do the job. And the Macarial is destroyed. the Concord Pass got reset, so I did set some missions to be active, and well, I believe I just done my Concord Pass with this kill. Okay, let's take a look at the kill. 3.8 billion. Very nice, an armor tank Macariel. Surprisingly, this Macariel did not have any warp core stabs. This is something very rare, and this Macariel did not have any nanocore, which is not a big deal because I also use ships without nanocores. I actually reprocessed a lot of my old nanocores that I don't use, even some upgraded ones, because, well, I have no use for them. Next target we have one rattlesnake. This rattlesnake also doesn't seem to have a lot of nanocore stuff going on. However, this rattlesnake did have a lot of shield, so I expect a passive shield tank out of this ship. The rattlesnake is into low armor and the rattlesnake is destroyed. Nice. The value on the rattlesnake has been reduced significantly. It used to be like 11 billion, now it's like 2 billion. Basically, some faction cruisers are more worth than a rattlesnake, which is a little bit hilarious, but that's how things are at the moment. 2.5 billion, a very cheap PvP rattlesnake, a passive shield tank rattlesnake, which is not a bad idea, but you have to add some adaptive shield hardeners just to take advantage of the ship's natural shield resistance. After all, the rattlesnake has a bonus on shield resistance, about 20% if you have the skill on level 5. Let's blow up some ships, and today we will start with the special ship that I was talking about. This is a Nestor, one of the rarest ships that you will encounter in this game, and my initial reaction in the chat was quite hilarious. Now, when this pilot came in system, I jokingly said, well, what if this guy is a Nestor? And well, to my shock, it was actually a bloody Nestor popping in. Now, how did I know that this pilot was a Nestor? I remember seeing screenshots. This pilot is a PvP pilot, if I can recall, and I've heard that this Nestor is actively being used in PvP, so I jokingly said that this might be a Nestor, and well, to our surprise, it actually is a Nestor. Now, based on the damage that I was doing on the armor, this Nestor was quite tanky, which means they probably used a pretty solid build, and well, there goes the Nestor. And you already expect a pretty juicy kill. After all, this is a faction battleship. 19.5 billion. Now, this is a pretty solid kill, and I would also like to say that this is also a pretty solid build. A passive tank Nestor in a fleet. This thing is really scary. Now, the Nestor that I did show you a while ago does use integration modules, which do improve the tank. The first target for today will be a Balgorn. My Daredevil alt already on the way to web the target. The Balgorn already into armor. Okay, the Balgorn now into 35% armor. And the Balgorn is destroyed. Okay, very nice. Very nice start. Now, where is the wreck? There is the wreck. Let me go and loot, because a Balgorn is usually quite expensive and there is a lot of salt in local, so not really sure what kind of kill this Balgorn was, but there is a big chance that we have a pretty expensive kill here. No cargo hold left. Well, that's That's typical. 533 million. The Balgon dropped 2 Predator webs, which is very nice. Okay, so I guess I'll have to go and dock to unload the loot. And while the Daredevil is warping, let's take a look at the kill. 15.2 billion. You know, I did not expect to beat my own record in the same week, but I guess it happened. First, the 15 billion capital ship, it was a freighter I believe, and now a 15.2 billion Balgorn. Well, very nice. And this Balgorn is also red, which means that I'll be paid for shooting down this ship. And honestly, having extra ISK is always nice. The loot drops could be better, but I'm not going to complain much. Basically, going to get paid for the kill mail and going to get paid for the loot, which is a very good combination already. Okay, let me unload the Daredevil, move to item hangar. This will be our first target for today. I did send my alt to go and web the target. Now I noticed that my capital lasers have a problem to hit this particular Macarial. Usually this does not happen, so I'm not really sure what's happening here. Perhaps they did enable a damage control. However, I don't see the damage control effect on the ship. However, they did use the adaptive shield harness, they did turn them on, so my damage will be reduced. And it looks like this Macarial is trying to go back to the gate. Now, they are not shooting at my alt. However, I believe that they are shooting at our bubble pallet. Now, our ships are built to withstand a lot of damage, and our cruisers can easily withstand a barrage Macarial, so I believe that our bubble pallet did not take a lot of damage from this Macarial. And based on the rate of fire that I could see on the Macarial, they did have the barrage implant. Okay, the wreck has been looted, and now let's take a look at the kill. 3.4 billion, overall pretty solid. Active shield tank Macarial, they had a PvP build. Overall looked pretty solid, the build looks pretty solid, and overall a nice catch. And well, our bubble pallet has full armor, so the tank did hold really well. Next target we have another Macarial. This is the second faction battleship for today. The Macarial is in armor. Now they are trying to burn to the gate. I believe they have an afterburner. However, that is not going to work, and the Macarial has been destroyed. Nice. Okay, let's take a look at the kill. Okay, I wish I did not open the kill here. This is a very, let's say, a very weird Macarial. A cargo Macarial. They did transport minerals in a faction battleship. Well, that's a very interesting choice indeed. Next target, next Macarial. This Macarial has adaptives on, however, capital lasers easily go through a shield tank battleship. And this Macarial went down pretty quickly. It didn't feel like they had a lot of tank. Let's take a look at the build. 3.9 billion, Okay, decent loot drop already. DPS material, and they had the new drones. The new drones are very expensive, a very nice loot drop. This was about 450 million from this one material. Well, overall, really happy with the loot drops today. The loot fairy is very generous, which is always a good thing. Now, today you will see some very funny and I would say quite hilarious kills. And after I destroy this badger, I will show you one such kill. Now, my alt account with the stabber is actually doing much better than my revelation in terms of what kills the ships get. 366 million badger was empty unfortunately, but still I'm not going to complain. A kill is a kill. Now the first hilarious kill that I will quickly show you is this Condor 2. Yes, 4.7 billion, almost 4.8 billion. This is a hilarious price. Hilarious kill mail on this. Looking at the fit, so if there was a bad module, well, I did not see it. Next target, we have one badger too that popped in. I was very quick to web the target, or that's what I think. Now the target is webbed. Okay, the badger has been eliminated. Let's return around the revelation and let's take a look at the kill. 1.8. Oh, come on, it did not drop the Abaddon. 1.8 billion, but unfortunately the Abaddon did not drop. Which is a shame, because I would love to have one extra CHONK in the fleet. Next target, we have another badger too. Basically this second badger popped in 30 seconds after the first one. Webbed, almost locked. And the badger has been yeeted. Okay, let's return around the big boat with the Daredevil. And now let's take a look at the kill. You know, you gotta be kidding me. An Apocalypse Tiger dropped. I mean, I wish it dropped, but it didn't. Well, okay, 1.8 billion, Badger 2 again. Both of them are red, so I guess I'm going to get paid for the kill mails, but unfortunately I'm not going to get paid for the loot. Okay, next target we have another Ashimo. Let's go and web the target with the Daredevil. Although I think I might be a little bit too late with Daredevil. Oh well, the Ashimo did try to burn to the station with a micro drive, and well, lasers plus micro drive plus the revelation doesn't really equal to a ship that's going to be in one piece, and well, the Ashimo did learn that the hard way. And of course the target was red, so yes, very nice ESC rewards are going to be tomorrow. 2.1 billion, my Quobdriv, of course, I could have seen that coming from a very long distance. Also a PvP Ashimo, although this Ashimo had DPS rigs. The revelation is my first capital ship, and I believe it might be one of the few ones with over 1,000 kills. Now the first target for today will be a Vexor Sniper. I am going to send my alt to quickly tackle the Vexor. The Vexor is trying to get out of the bubble, but that's not going to work. Surprisingly, the Vexor is not firing back, at least not at the big boat, but well, they didn't have a chance to shoot at anything. Although I have a feeling that this Vexor is quite expensive, so let me go and open the wreck. I always have the feeling that some ships are quite expensive, so let me see what's inside of the wreck. Back to the revelation, and there's a lot of stuff inside of the cargo hold of that Vexor. Well, there was a lot of stuff, not anymore. Now everything is looted, and let me go dock the Daredevil to unload the loot, and then I'll go back to loot some more. 1.1 billion Vexor sniper kill. Okay, well, that's a very weird cargo ship, I have to admit. It doesn't have a lot of cargo. Next target, we have one Tempest Striker. Tracking disruptors are on the Tempest. The Daredevil is orbiting at a safe distance. If the Tempest attempts to shoot at the Daredevil, they will not be able to hit because of the tracking disruptors. And there's a bomber that's popped in. That's the secondary target. If the bomber stays, or guess not, the bomber has warped out. Okay, that's fine. The Tempest is now into 35-40% armor. Now the Tempest is into 50% hull. The next hit should be enough to destroy this ship. And the Tempest is destroyed. Nice. That was a very good kill. Okay, let me take a look at the wreck. I mean at the kill, not at the wreck. 1.9 billion Tempest. Okay, autocannons, a passive tank. Could be useful for some situations. Next target, we have one Ashimu. The Ashimu has tracking disruptors on them, and the Ashimu has been destroyed. Nice. Always nice when we catch one of these faction cruisers. They can be expensive. The Ashimu is one of the most expensive faction cruisers, but unfortunately it's not the best one anymore. Used to be such a good ship, but nowadays I prefer to fly the Cinnabal over the Ashimu, which is a little bit sad, but it is what it is. Alright, next target we have another Ashimu. This is the second Blood Raider faction cruiser today. And well, that ship did not last long at all. One hit was all that I needed. And based on the amount of missions that I have completed, this should be a pretty expensive one, 2.4 billion. Very nice. But unfortunately the loot ferry wasn't very nice to us today, and well, we missed one very expensive drone and we missed one very expensive B-type armor repair, but which is very interesting. Next target we have one Astro. Now this Astro looks quite expensive. This Astro looks really expensive, and well, hopefully it does drop some very nice stuff. They have been webbed, so they are not going to be able to move anywhere, and well, they are getting locked on, and the Astro is destroyed. I was lagging a little bit. My internet has been very horrible lately, so my apologies for any lag. 2.2 billion Astro, very nice. I would say above average value, but unfortunately the loot ferry said no, and I did not get the most important modules, but that's some pretty good loot, and I believe they also dropped some Sister of Eve debris, and I think I'm also going to be paid for destroying that ship, so overall I would say about 1 billion in ISK value from that Astra, and 1 billion is still pretty good. So, or did that Tempest lack a lot of modules? Okay, well, that's interesting. Next we have one RB Covertops 3 or RB3 Covertops. They have been triple webbed and they have been destroyed. Nice. Should have waited a little bit longer before shooting, because the RB has a small signature radius and they can be quite difficult to hit. But eventually the the relation does hit the target. 1.4 billion, very nice. A PvP build as well. Unfortunately, the best modules did not drop, which is so far which after that basically we waited for another full hour and I had to dock, so that's our little encounter. Basically they didn't warp or they didn't come to the gate, which was honestly very weird. I expected to get jumped by a lot of dreadnoughts, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Oh well. Next is a Gila that got tackled at the gate. The Gila has been webbed. I have some issues with hitting the target. However, I think the next... There we go. The Gila has been destroyed. And as you can see, I haven't changed the build. I even haven't changed the ship position. I'm still in the same position as before. I did enhance the revelation quite a bit. 1 billion Gila kill, overall solid. With the threat of having a massive capital ship fleet at your doorstep, I would recommend that you brick tank your dreadnoughts. I mean, the dreadnought should always be a tank. However, in some cases you can actually go with a DPS build, but in my case, as you could see, I can't do the full DPS build anymore. That's going to be a very bad idea. Next we have a Cinnabal. The Cinnabal survived 2 hits from the revelation. I think the third one will finish the job. Okay, there we go. There goes the Cinnabal. Nice. And I also will be honest with you right away. Having suspicious pilots scout you is always a sign that something is about to happen. And we have been expecting that for a while. And I guess now it's showtime, as they like to say. 1.3 billion Cinnabal kill. The loot drop wasn't the best, but it's okay. Was still a pretty solid Cinnabal kill. Next we have a Gila. But I believe that our sniper did get the Gila before I could even lock, which is fine. I will go pick up the loot with the alt account. This is so convenient to have both accounts on the same device running side by side. I really like the fact that I can do this. The next device that I'll buy in a couple of years will do this a lot more smoother. Currently, the difference between the difference between the new chipset and this one is basically non-existent because they run the same. But the next generation chips look very interesting. Okay, next we have another Cinnabal. Looks like today is faction cruiser party time. Triple webbed, adaptives on just in case if that Cinnabal doesn't like my stabber. And the revelation got the stabber. The revelation got the stabber, yeah. The revelation got the Cinnabal. Now, fun little hilarious fact. I almost killed my own alt a couple days ago. Somehow I locked on the alt instead of the target and I slapped my alt to 1% hull. Thankfully it did not kill the alt, would be hilarious. But I accidentally almost killed my alt. Survived on like 100 hull or something. Not really sure how it survived, but it did. 1.1 billion Cinnabal kill, another Cinnabal, interesting. And we have another Gila coming up, okay. Let's go and quickly web the Gila with the alt, and then the revelation can slap the Gila with the capital lasers. Well, that was a satisfying one hit. Nice. Gila has been destroyed. Let me orbit the capital ship and let me show you the kill. 1.4 billion, this is the most expensive Gila today. And they had a PvP build, okay. Although a medium shield booster, not really sure if that's a good idea. Well, let's go to the next target. We have one Ashimu. The Ashimu is burning away from the bubble, and for some reason I didn't do much damage, and well, the siege mode was disabled. Now looks like the Ashimu is using a afterburner, although they were moving at a bad angle and I was able to hit the Ashimu without a problem. If the Ashimu was moving left or right or orbiting, then I would probably miss. 2.9 billion Ashimu. This Ashimu was used for exploration, very interesting choice. And they had a tier 4 rig. I was wondering why the ship was so expensive, and it's because of the tier 4 rig. I haven't seen a Ashimu being used for exploration. This is definitely a first for me. Usually all the Ashimu that I see are built for. Is still a faction battleship, and this one looks very nice. I really like the color design of this Macarial. Now here my alt is offline. Had to plug the device into the charger, so the alt went offline for some reason, but I think I don't need to have the alt online because the Macarial is going towards my ship, so the transversal velocity should be low enough for my turrets to hit, and so far no issues with the tracking. The Macarial is into hull. They are still approaching. They have tracking disruptors on them so that they can't hit any of our ships. And the Macarial is destroyed. A very nice second kill. Second Macarial kill. Or is it the second kill? I actually have no idea how many Macarials I've killed. But one thing is sure, I've killed a lot of Macarials. Now this Macarial was a sniper. Okay, a sniper Macarial. Very interesting. Now, someone asked me how much ISK did we make. We made a lot of ISK recently, and it looks like it's going to be better and better. Next we have another Macarial. Now I really like the look on the nanocore design of this Macarial. Really nice design, but unfortunately my job is to destroy ships, so this Macarial has to be destroyed. They have been webbed and the Macarial is destroyed. Okay, let's send the alt to loot the wreck. Now the one issue that I still have with the Daredevil is the low cargo hold. Basically I have to dock the loot multiple times when I loot a big wreck, but it's not a big problem. After all, the gains that I have with the Daredevil are worth the sacrifices. Okay, looted and back around the orbit of the Revelation, and yes, I almost killed my own alt there. If that was a Vigilant, that Vigilant would be dead, because, well, I shoot at my alt very often by accident. That's one thing that might be a small issue, but with practice, that... You know, some of these fights were quite nostalgic to me, because a lot of them were made basically around the time when I started to fly this ship, and back then things were a little bit different. We used to be jumped a lot more often, but the Revelation did secure our home system. It did secure that we have our own space, and the Dreadnoughts, the Revelations, did bring a lot more, I guess, security to our home system. Basically, it allowed us to make this system our home, and it allowed us to keep the system as our home for a very long time. Well, with that being said, I really hope that you enjoyed. Was definitely a pleasure to record all of these videos for you. If you want to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and I'll see you next time.